It's another original BW Sports 1 production.
Pew pew!
What is good in the hood? You already know what it is. It's Wednesday night, and it's the Dukes of Football, and we live. Brought to you by BW Sports 1 and all of our lovely friends and associates. What is going on this lovely Wednesday after evening, noon? And yeah, you got me right now. My partner in crime had a last minute situation that was dire that he needed to take care of. So it is me for the moment. I think the source is going to jump in a little bit. I'm trying out some new things here. I got me a new stand-up desk, so that's why I was looking like a little bit taller than I normally do, which is hard to say what I normally do in a normal environment. But I'm a mover, so this is pretty cool. I get to stand up, and I get to talk to y'all, and I get to make hand gestures and all that kind of stuff. No biggie. But anyway, I'm going to tell you the coolest part about it. I wish somebody was here to experience it with me. Is I grew up in the church. Never really aspired to be a pastor or anything like that. But I'm gonna tell you right now, standing here at this stand-up desk, I kind of got that congregation kind of feel. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, this is the Dukes of Football, and I am the one, and we're gonna talk football today. The last couple of weeks, we've been doing exclusive in the NFL, except for a couple stories that needed to be talked about, so to speak, outside of the realm of NFL football. But now it is time. We have gotten through all four sets of divisions of the NFL, the AFC and the NFC, the East, West, North, and South. So now with one day to spare, actually college football started last weekend. We'll talk about Notre Dame and USC in a little bit, but this is basically the official start of college football tomorrow. So we had to get a good preview in for today. See, the source says he'll be here in a half of 30. You know what I mean? That's my guy. He's going to come kick it with me. Hey, look who I found. It's the source. It's the source.
Listen, I was getting my rear brake pads put on. I told my buddy, I said, we have until 8 o'clock, and then I got to go. I literally just rolled in. But, hey. I wore a special shirt for the occasion because, you and I both know I love college football. We go back and forth a lot. You ready for this, though? Pass, baby. Chad Powers, the number one quarterback.
That is the best shirt I've seen all year.
Now, wait. I got a special one I was going to wear for you, but I'm just going to show it off right here. This is going to be my whiteout shirt, or if I go to that team in Columbus' stadium game. Ready? Here's the front. Okay. Let's see if I can hold this up for everybody to see. Ohio State fans.
Yeah.
I knew you'd like that. I had to decide. I figured Chad Powers is perfect for this situation, and that one will be definitely I might have to wear that if I go to Columbus for the game. So.
Yeah, that Chad Powers is great. Yeah, Columbus is only about 3 hours away from us.
Yeah, it's about 4.5, 5 for me. Yeah,
that sounds about right. But I was telling the people that we're not gonna have Dan today. He was scheduled, he was ready to go, and then shit hit the fan. Like 23 minutes before blast off. So he might drop in, he might not. We're not sure. But this is what is this? This is the 2023-2024 NCAA football preview show special. Let it rain down.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I know you're going to have a lot to talk about. I just want to throw it out there. I am pumped myself for college football. I'll be at the Penn State game Saturday with them opening up against West Virginia. That's going to be exciting just because of the whole new TV deal with them having NBC's coverage. It's going to be kind of cool to see how NBC does for the Big Ten.
Because we're on Peacock at 12.
Peacock. You know what? It's nothing against Michigan or anything like that, but the whole Peacock thing is a joke to begin with. So
I'll be watching it by a different means, but it will not be Peacock.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm excited. I know for us as Big Ten fans, we can be excited because it's going to be a great year for Big Ten football.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a really good year. Oh, you missed it. I was telling the people I got a new desk.
Yeah, you seem taller.
Yes. I have a stand-up desk.
Oh yeah, see that's why.
Yeah. It moves. I could reach over here and hit a button. Like if I get tired of standing, I can hit a button and then my whole desk goes down and then I can just sit in the chair.
Ooh, we fancy over here.
Yeah, we got lucky. You know what I mean? The wife's office was moving locations and they was getting rid of stuff. And look what we got here. Old stand-up desk for the tall cripple.
I just figured you were trying to show off your Michigan swag a little bit better.
No, you know what I mean? It just, you know what I mean? I like the up and down, you know what I mean? Hell, I might finish the show sitting down. Who the hell knows?
Folks,
That's the mystery.
Folks, if you see him get shorter, he had to sit, I promise you. He's not short. He's just he sat.
Yeah, because see, I got wireless, so I can just move around. Like, come over here and be like, hi. Then I can come back. The simple pleasure. This is what you have to look forward to when you get old, bro. It's the simple things.
Listen, getting my brake pads was exciting enough for me today, all right? I was looking forward to that.
I understand. It's getting cold, and you up there, it get cold faster.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, so, man, we got a lot to get into. Let me do some local stuff real quick. You know, we like to hang out with some of our local people, like Memory Makers, brought to you by, who is it brought to you by? Checkered Life Customs. Get all of your direct-to-print needs on the spot. Call 317-494-0811 today and tell them that the guys at BW Sports 1 sent you. So that means that we're going to do a little quick thing on some high school football. Maybe if I can get my mouse to work. So we got that little thing there. And then we got this little thing here. So it's high school football. That's IHSAA, Indiana High School Athletic Association, for you Pennsylvania people. Now, we're week 2. Just finished up week 2, going into week 3 for Indiana high school football. This last week we had some pretty good games and a couple of highlights that want to stand out. We got Shelbyville was probably one of the biggest highlights of the week, of the last weekend. They matched. No, that might be a tie for one of the biggest, but they matched their win total already this season over the last 4 seasons with being 2-0.
Still more wins in my high school.
Yes, their first 2-0 start since 2017. Another standout would be Decatur Central. They had 2 very nice wins this past couple weekends over 2 powerhouse programs here in the state. One being Columbus North and the other one being New Pal. I think New Pal won state about 2 years ago. I can't remember. So many, you know what I mean, all the different classes. And then we had a barn burner last weekend between two 6A school, which is our top level for high school football, between Lawrence Central and Westfield. They had a total of 117 points going into overtime. So it took a touchdown in overtime for that game to be over. So a lot of things going on, couple highlights, a couple standout athletes that are being recruited very well here in the city. So just a little touch up for some of our local high school. I know Dan probably has something on this too, but he skipped out. I know Matt doesn't really care about Indiana high school football, so unless they're going to Penn State.
High school football is legit across the board for everybody. I personally kind of like to follow some of the Texas stuff that goes on because, bro, you see that $35 million stadium they built for Texas high school? Like, that's college shit right there.
Listen, I went to college in Texas, so I've been knowing about Texas football for a long time and the money that they put into Texas football. Like, these high school stadiums were better than our college.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll just say it quickly. My high school lost their opener. They play the same team every year for their opener. They lost to them. They trailed a good amount at one point, lost by a touchdown. So that's kind of promising that they rallied. But
well, it looked good for a minute.
Yeah. I wasn't at the game. I was at the races. I was following along, and yeah, it's going to be a long season. The last time I think they were relevant was my senior year when they went to the Pennsylvania District Championship game, and then they lost, I think, 28-21 in that game.
Well, that's a good memory.
2009, buddy. It's 2023.
It's a really good memory. I could not tell you any scores of any games. You know what? I don't even think I went to one. I went to homecoming my senior year.
I went to all of our home games my senior year just because it was fun. What else was I going to do on a Friday?
Yeah, I went to more North Central football games than I did my high school. I went to my old high school football games more than I did the one I graduated. But it was fun, though. So let's get into this college, man, because we got a lot on the lineup, and we're going to get right through it because we're actually going to talk about not all the conferences because a lot of them aren't relevant. So we're going to talk about the major conferences. And we got a couple storylines that we got to talk about. So let's see. What's first up? Ooh, excuse me. That was a belch in the microphone. I apologize, my people. So we're going across the NCAA. So it looks like first up we have conference realignments. So as you know, the last 2-3 months has been kind of crazy with the realignments of these conferences that is soon to be in the next year or two coming up. The biggest question that I have for you when it comes to these realignments is, do you think that all the rivalries are done as we know it? Or do you think some of these schools, it means more regardless of what conference they're in to play these games?
Well, I think it means more for these colleges to play in some of these games, but I don't think the rivalries are done because if you look at how some of these realignments are going, I'll use USC and UCLA as the example. They're going to the Big Ten together. So their games are still going to be intact. Not saying that's a huge rivalry, but it's a rivalry enough because I'm both playing in Southern California. So that rivalry stays intact. I think what you're going to see with more of these realignments is the same thing. If this school is going to this conference, well, that's our biggest opponent. We're going to join them. So I don't see the rivalries being done completely. I see some of them ending just because logistically, it's just I don't see some teams jumping ship right away.
Right.
But I don't see them going anywhere. I think everybody will figure out a way to make their rivalry games happen.
Right. I agree with you on that. I think they should find a way to make those rivalries. If they're that important that you got, like, say, I mean, it's not going to happen because neither one of these schools are going to ever leave the Big Ten. You know what I mean? But you look at us and the school, over there.
The crybabies.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, I think that rivalry means more than them being in different conferences. You know what I'm saying? I thought West Virginia could have salvaged theirs, from what it used to be. But I think if it's those major ones like Alabama, Auburn, it's hard to say that they'll leave their conferences, but you think that they're going to make it. You know what I'm saying? Right now, you got Washington and Washington State. Both of those schools are going to be in different conferences. But I think it's important that you play that game because that's state rivalries. You know what I'm saying?
Look at the Oregon State matchup once Oregon actually leaves the Pac-12.
Yep.
Oregon State's biggest opponent every year. I get it's conference, but it's still a big game for them, big game for Oregon as well. So I could see them making it work too. The one that I have the biggest question on, though, with the rivalry would be the Red River shootout between Texas and Oklahoma. Because you figure with Texas's move out of the Pac or out of the Big 12.
But so did Oklahoma.
Yeah, but with the way the schedules are going to be, though, how are they going to make their rivalry work?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And that's the question when you put them across like that. But I thought the SEC was going to go away from divisions too. I thought they was going to be one big one.
See, I thought so too.
Like if they go away from divisions, there you go. They're on the schedule. You know what I'm saying? But I think that especially with this being a great idea. Like if you're a school that's contending for national championships every year, you got to play your rivals, especially if they're contenders.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like running away from them doesn't do any good. You know what I mean? That could be something we could talk about maybe later on in the day when it comes to strength of schedule. Like that'll boost your strength of schedule when it comes to these last minute decisions by the committee to put you ahead of somebody else or not. Is your strength of schedule. You know what I'm saying? So I think the rivalry games in that aspect should still be honored. But I mean, I just feel that you should find a way to get it done. Because just think of IU and Purdue. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't play. It's ridiculous. I think they will find a way.
Well, I could say, like, I'll touch on this quickly. There's been a lot of complaints about the Penn State not having a locked-in rivalry game once USC and UCLA join the conference, right? So, like, they want to – Big Ten wants to keep the rivalries intact. They want to keep Ohio State, Michigan intact, all those games. Penn State does not have a locked-in rival because they don't have a legit rival in the conference.
Right.
So I'm okay with them not having a legit rival that they have to play every year. Yeah, I want to see us play Michigan and Ohio State every year. But they're not scheduled to. They don't have to. In their sense, the rivalry thing doesn't matter for them. But to, like, our point, I really, like, with Texas, Oklahoma, I want them to play every year. Whether they're in the SEC, the Big 12, ACC, like, that's one game, as a college football fan, I want to watch. Just because of the history of it. So
right, because that goes beyond college. It goes beyond the college. So it's like with Kansas and Missouri.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That goes beyond Kansas and Missouri. That's like the state of Kansas and the state of Missouri. Like that's real. Like, if y'all don't know about that history of that rivalry, look it up. It's pretty gruesome.
Even the Ivy League rivalries are, like, great to watch just because it's like, battle of the brains. But, like, they those games, everybody puts it out on the line. Like, we don't care what we do the rest of the year. This is the game we want to win. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, we can go 1-13, but that one better be this game.
Yeah. So, NCAA conferences that are watching, paying attention, listen to us. Keep the rivalries. Figure it out. Make it work. I don't care. Make it work. I as a fan, want to see rivalries. Make it work.
Just for the simple fact that Notre Dame isn't in a conference, but them not playing Michigan on a yearly basis was very, very bad. You know what I mean? Like, those two schools are two of the top 5 most historic schools, and you don't get too many schools up at that high level that play like that on a regular. And for them not to play for 14 years, that's ridiculous. That is utterly and absolutely ridiculous because I love to beat up on Dan so bad.
We all want to beat up on Dan because if they would just join a conference, we wouldn't have this problem.
Just join the Big Ten and get it over with.
Yeah.
Or save the ACC one of the two.
Notre Dame's other big rival, USC, joined the Big Ten, so you might as well just take 2 of the games right there.
And we already joined rivals with the NBC, so come on in, man.
Yeah. Here's the door. The door's nice and open. Come on.
You know, one big happy family.
Except for one Saturday of the year.
Right. All right, so since we were talking about Notre Dame and USC, as we know, both of those schools did open this college football season in week 0 last week. Notre Dame in Dublin, Ireland, playing Navy. Good rivalry. I understand it, but I don't understand why it's Navy. I'm pretty sure you could have found a more Irish or Catholic type of, entity to go over there and represent. But, I don't want to say nothing bad about the midshipmen because, Navy's they do more than just play football. They're training to protect our lives. So I think it's fun. And you had USC open up against Boise.
San Jose State.
Same difference.
Yeah.
Who do you think looked better in week 0, Notre Dame or USC?
I mean, if we're going to talk number-wise, USC looked better, but we didn't learn anything about either team out of either game because, again, Notre Dame beat Navy, who I didn't even make a pass attempt, so we don't, which they never do. And San Jose State is a far weaker opponent for USC in football, so I don't think we really learned anything about either team on how good they're going to be. But if we're just for argument's sake, USC probably looked like the better team to begin with. Caleb Williams showed why he won the Heisman last year in one game, but again, San Jose State, so.
See, I would have to agree, yes, and disagree at the same time. I'm going to say Notre Dame had the better. I think they have more to prove, coming in with a quarterback who has played 1,000 games but still unproven. Yeah, it's Navy, but what was it, 7 touchdowns or something crazy like that? Not him personally, but he broke Notre Dame records when it comes to quarterback passing in your debut. But that's not what lets me know that Notre Dame had a better game. The score let me know that Notre Dame had a better game. USC, you're supposed to be contending for a national championship. You're supposed to be in that conversation. You got the defending Heisman Trophy winner. Y'all gave up 28 points to a team that I keep forgetting who they played against.
San Jose State.
Them too.
But you kind of said it though. Notre Dame played Navy, who is a one-dimensional offense. They run that triple option. They had 43 pass yards. I looked. Oh, my God. They threw the ball for 43 yards on 3 completions. Congratulations. You guys made some passes. San Jose State, though, is I wouldn't say a greater opponent than Navy, but I would expect San Jose State to score more points than what Navy would in a game anyway.
All right, here's a question. Does Georgia give up 28 points to San Jose?
Maybe with their third stringers in.
Okay, so that is a no. Does Alabama give up 28 points to San Jose?
Probably.
Maybe 21.
It's the point though. Like, are any of those teams going to give up more than 3 points to Navy either?
Nah, they're not. They're not. But they're not going to give up 28 to San Jose. I mean, I think both had good weekends. I was just nitpicking.
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm just being, devil's advocate and being like, does it really matter though? Because again, San Jose State. If you put San Jose State against Navy, they're going to score 28 and it's going to be 3 type of game. Still.
I just don't think San Jose State is disciplined enough to guard the triple option. You only see the triple option when you play Navy or Army. And Army throws the ball more than Navy does. But you're only going to see the triple option when you play Navy. And you only practice the triple option the week you play Navy. So as soon as you get out your lanes, Navy's making this defense. Because like, if you don't play defense against that, they will control the ball. Like, control the ball. All you need is 3 good defensive players, and Navy can be, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm trying.
No, you're good.
I'm trying.
I mean,
it makes no sense.
I was just looking at their schedule from last year. Like, yeah, so their best opponent was Auburn. Non-conference opponent was Auburn. They lost 24-16 in that game. But some of their wins, they 21 points, 34 points, 33 points, 40 points. Even their bowl game, they lost 41-27 to Eastern Michigan at a neutral site. So, I mean, I could see them putting up 28 points on a team, but not Navy. I'm sorry. I mean, that's
Samuel Adams, Oktoberfest.
Hey, this is why, like, it's nice that we have a wide variety of opinions on the show, because we both agreed on this. Whew! This could be an easy show.
All right, let's move on to the next one. UMass breaks a long road losing streak.
UMass.
I mean, like, up until like 3 weeks ago, I didn't even know they had a football team.
I mean, I did. That's where Adam Brenneman, the former tight end of Penn State, transferred to.
UMass.
UMass.
No, they won their road opener the first time in what, I don't know, like forever. Since 1973, their first road season opening win since 1973. And that breaks their 24 road game losing streak. So they're just bad.
Congrats, UMass. We're going to kick your ass in October. So
he must have transferred because of scholastic reasons.
Yeah. Hey,
This is sure as hell wasn't football.
now wait a minute here. Who did they beat? They beat New Mexico State. Who did New Mexico State have to play last year?
San Jose.
And that game got postponed, so I can't even use it as an argument.
Ah. Hilarious. All right, so that's taking us to the preseason top 25.
Dan's
Bam.
favorite thing in the world.
See, and now look, on the notes, I have it sectioned off. I have it right here in the notes. This is the time that we hear Dan's annual too early for polls before week 6 rant.
Yeah.
But not really going to talk about it a lot, just putting it up there because, we need to know. So there you have it. Top 25. As you can see, there's only 2 schools up there with records.
I will say, for the purpose of the top 25, I am okay with like the top 10 being the way it is. I thought maybe like Florida State or Clemson would be knocked out and like a Texas or a Tennessee would be in. But I'm okay with the top 10 being the way it is. And it is very Big Ten and SEC heavy again, so that's a good sign. So I said it's looking good for us.
Looks good for us, yes, I agree. Pardon me. Lord have mercy, Samuel Adams is talking today. I thought the Clemson and the Florida State were pushing a little bit. I know Florida State finished the year well last year, and I think that's what has them with a lot of hype walking into this year. Not to say that they're not going to live up to that hype throughout the season, but I was a little worried, but not to the point where I'm like, oh my God, that is ridiculous. I kind of feel that Washington should have been in that top 10 with the experience at quarterback, with a 9-year quarterback in Penix, who was at IU forever. He's like a 30-year-old playing with 16-year-olds, but Washington seems to be, it's like me going back to high school and being All-American. You know what I mean? Like, get out of here, guy. But yeah, other than that, I think it looks pretty good. And I mean, I like to see these Pac-12 teams in there trying to put up a fight before their conference just automatically dissolves.
Well, so my point was, I mean, here's Washington, who, coming this way at some point. We got USC in there, top 10, join the Big Ten. Maybe UCLA will sneak their way in there at some point. I mean, look, that's the fall of the SEC over the next few years. Like, let's go.
And see, the SEC gets so much hype that they shouldn't. They're very, very, very top heavy. It's like their top 3 teams are great, and everybody else is like really, really mediocre.
You're not wrong.
But then they're exalted them because Paul Feinbaum says that the SEC is blah, blah, blah. But, okay, so they won all the national championships. That's fine. But they didn't win the first one. The Big Ten did. That's the only credit that I'm ever giving that school.
It's funny. The only reason why they're winning all these titles now is because of the playoffs anyways. They couldn't hack it in the BCS voting.
Voting. It should be played on the field. But next year is going to be extremely interesting to see how this all plays out. So that's the top 25. We missed Dan's rant. We kind of mentioned strength of schedule. Just by the way, Georgia has the 31st strength of schedule. Just put it out there. Alabama plays Louisiana Lafayette Tech. Just put it out there. Just put it out there. All right, so ready to break down these conferences, good sir?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and start with this damn Pac-12. So these are the schools in the Pac-12 as of today.
Yeah, let's remind everybody that's just today.
It's today, because all of that changes next season. Yeah, because this school here, Colorado, is gone. They're going to the Big 12. UCLA, USC is gone. They're going to the Big 10. Utah is to the Big 12. Arizona State is to the Big 12. And I think Oregon
and
Washington are on their way somewhere.
I think they're going to come to the Big 10.
I think so too.
I even think Stanford's going to come with them. I think we're going to get Washington, Stanford, and Oregon out of it.
I kind of think Stanford might go east, might keep going further. I think they might try the SEC, maybe the Big 12. I don't know if Stanford really wants to play that many cross-country games.
I'm looking at it in the aspect of Stanford also being a very good school for education purposes, and the Big Ten is one of the best conferences in general for education for college athletes. So
hey, say that again. The who?
The Big Ten.
There you go.
Yeah. I think that's
baby.
Yeah, I think that is a good reason for them to jump ship as well and go to the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the Pac-12 is going to do, which kind of brings up here it is right here. Let's see. Oh, no, that's a different one. But yeah, I'm concerned about them. I don't really know if the Pac-12 should even keep their Power Five's distinction. You know what I'm saying? Because for you to even stay alive, you're going to have to go recruit. And the schools that you're going to recruit from are going to be the Mountain West and the Big Sky, which I understand now why they call it the Big Sky. Because that's a whole lot of sky up there, bro.
Don't forget, they got to compete with the Sun Belt Conference, too, for all their top prospects.
The Sun Belt. So I think the Pac-12 is in a really, really, really bad spot. Yeah. So, but let that be said, the Pac-12 has some really strong teams. Washington is going to be good. USC is going to be good. There's another one. Oregon is traditionally going to be good, but I think Oregon State is going to be a sneaky one. And I will watch out for UCLA and Chip on the back end.
don't sleep on Utah. But the only problem Utah is going to have is the fact that their quarterback, Cam Rising, is not playing, or is probably not going to play against Florida to start the season. So possibility of them having a slow start to the year because of them having to play Florida and then Baylor. But if Cam Rising can come back and put on a show that he did last year, because, I mean, that kid played wonderful last year, do not be surprised if you see them back in the Rose Bowl at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm not hating against Utah. I just forgot to mention them.
No. I wasn't saying. I was saying in general for people, don't sleep. Don't sleep on Utah. They're there for a reason. They're in the top 25 for a reason. They're going to be there. Just, I don't know if they're going to beat USC. It all depends on how good Caleb Williams stays all year, if he stays healthy.
Yeah, that's the key. But I say Caleb Williams is going to put up numbers, but I don't think that his USA team is going to win the games that he needs to win to go Archie Griffin. So,
agreed.
Last thing with the Pac-12, we can't go into Pac-12 even though I know they're leaving, but we cannot talk about the Pac-12 and not talk about his first year at Colorado. Mr. Prime Time. Must be the money. Is Deion good or bad for division or bad for CFP football?
I think he's good for all of it, like for all of college football, for the playoffs and everything like that. But I don't know if he's good for Colorado.
Let's say he's been good for Colorado in the recruiting of the portal. Right. And I agree with you. I think he is good for college football because he's not afraid of the NCAA. He'll tell you the truth. He'll tell you what he thinks about the NCAA. You know what I mean? Harbaugh and all of them try, but they still got the NCAA on their thumb. Deion does not. Deion's going to tell you, he's been called out, you see it, and people don't like it. You know what I mean? So you got Saban talking crazy, regardless if they had commercials together, but he's calling it how it is. You know what I mean? He's giving you the underbelly. You know what I mean? They're giving you all these sob stories and these different type of scenarios that can go on. Deion's coming out and telling you, hey, we all know what this is about. This is about dollars.
Yep.
So if you're about dollars, why can't these kids be about dollars? Deion.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't know. I would love to see him at a different school. I think he would make. I'm not saying he's not making a splash out, but can you imagine him being a head coach to an SEC school, and then him really going up, and then him going up against the NCAA? Then, whoo!
Give it time. He's got to pay his dues. Going to HBC. I'm sorry, I love the HBCUs. But going to your HBCUs is not paying your dues. You have to go to some of them schools up there before they'll let you into their close-knit fraternity because they know he's going to cause trouble.
He can go to Vanderbilt for all I care in the SEC, and he is still going to go up against the NCAA, and it's going to make it. Dude, it would make the SEC a little bit more entertaining because Vanderbilt's going to be on prime time because prime time's their coach.
Play my damn theme, my theme music. Oh, I mean, hey, listen, Colorado is going to be a hard team, but they're going to be a team that's not going to win a lot of games right away. I mean, it's not. You know what I mean? Yeah, he pulled like 90 kids out of the transfer portal. You know, his son is going to be an NFL player. The running back that he brought with him from Jackson State is going to be an NFL player. Those are studs. But those two dudes can't do it by themselves in the transfer portal. There's a reason why those kids are in the transfer portal. But, you know what I mean? So, but I will say, Colorado is not going to be the pushover that they've been the last few years.
Oh, no.
I'll say that.
They really are going to be a tough out. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. So let's jump over here to the ACC. So this one is going to be a competitive conference, bro. This is going to be competitive. Clemson, you know, has been sluggish the last couple, but I think they have the opportunity to come back. Florida State is moving up a little bit. The reason why Notre Dame is in here is because I couldn't find the damn logos of the ACC without Notre Dame being in there because of all of the other sports. So if you just want to put your thumb on the screen over to Notre Dame, you guys will be good.
Here, we'll just do this.
So yeah, I think Clemson's going to be good. Florida State's on their way up. I think they're going to be good, but not as good as everybody is expecting them to be. UNC, I think, is going to be steady. Pitt steady, and I think Virginia Tech might be your sneaky team out of the ACC.
You know, I was thinking the same thing about Virginia Tech. You got to remember, Brent Pry is new to the team, so he has to get his players that he recruited in comfortable and in his system. Brent Pry is a really good defensive-minded coach, so in the ACC, you got to have some defense because they know how to score on offense.
Yes, they do.
So I agree with you. I think Virginia Tech's going to be sneaky, but I will disagree with the Florida State thing. I think Florida State is going to be that surprise team that floats around in that top 10 for a good while, and they're going to have one loss that's just going to be hard for them to overcome and get themselves back into the top contending spot. But I think Florida State is a lot better and are deserving of being a top 10 team for the whole year. But I think a lot like
their schedule, I think they are going to be. There's only one game that I see them losing right off, and the rest of them I think it'll be challenging and they'll have to be beaten. I don't think they're just going to walk out and be overpowered or just out athleticism except for one team.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're looking at the end of the year. I think them like an upset against Pitt or Miami is just going to deflate them because you figure they're going to go into that game probably with one loss. I think a loss to Pitt or Miami is where it's going to just kind of knock them down, and everybody's going to go, they're not as good as what they should be. Like, no, they're good. There's always that one game in the ACC that always happens every year, and that's going to be that game. It's going to be Florida State, like Pitt or Miami. Every year.
I could see more Miami because of the whole state of Florida type deal, and Miami again is on paper is supposed to be something, but we all know the turmoil and the year after year the debauchery that goes on in the Miami football program. So who the hell knows with Miami? Debauchery. That's a good word for today.
You're not wrong.
So, but all in all, the ACC seems solid. Here's a question for you. Does anybody, because I got it over here, is this Miami's comeback year? Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody challenge? Does anybody, who do you think is just going to outright win the ACC? Or not, that's not the question. Is there an AC team that's going to be in the Final Four? That was my question.
No.
No?
I don't think an ACC team makes the Final Four.
I don't need
that's just because I think, and it's going to sound biased for us, but I think the Big Ten is going to have 2 representatives this year.
Again.
Yeah. So now you're talking, there's only 2 spots left. You're not going to keep an SEC team out.
Nope.
And
it might not keep 2 of them out.
Correct. So I wouldn't be against to see an ACC team in the Final Four, but I don't see it. I can see 2 teams out of the Big Ten versus 2 teams in the SEC, or 2 from the Big Ten and SEC and the Big 12 champion go in, but not anybody else.
Right. Sounds good. Let's see. And the new members for the ACC next year are Cal, Stanford, and SMU. So Stanford is exploring the ACC. Stanford and Cal.
You mean the ACC? You said the SEC.
Yeah, the ACC. That's what I meant, the ACC. My bad. Yeah, Cal, Stanford, and SMU is all exploring the ACC. Now, because Cal and Stanford are big rivalry, so that makes sense that they're going together. As you go, his point again.
Yep. It all comes back to that very first question of the night.
All right, so let's jump over here to the Big 12. Last year for Texas and Oklahoma, both going to the SEC, coming in for Colorado. So this is what this is what the Big 12 looks like currently.
So whether your opinion agrees with me on this or not, but I feel like of our top conferences, I think obviously the Pac-12 is probably the weakest of the Power 5. I think the Big 12 is just right above them because once you get every year Texas comes in and they leave everybody disappointed. And lately Oklahoma's been doing the same thing. Other than that, I mean, from top to bottom, that conference doesn't really stick out to me this year for competition. I mean, last year you could say with Baylor and TCU, and teams were like there was a lot of good teams in that conference last year. I think this year they're just taking that step back. I just think that they're not the worst conference of the Power 5, but I don't think that they are up there with what the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 12 or the Big 10 and the Pac-12 are going to be.
I'd have to flip with you. I think the Pac-12 is a little better than the Big 12. If I'm just looking at this, you know what I mean? Like TCU, I know they're ranked in the top 20, but I don't see them having the historic run that they did last year. You know, we haven't seen K-State in a while. Oklahoma and Texas, you know what I mean? Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State are probably they're three schools that have the best chance. But until Texas plays Manning, I don't think they're going to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, I just don't think they've adjusted well to. I think they're trying to make the adjustment of recruitment to the SEC, and it's not working for what they're doing now in Oklahoma. Oklahoma State is just Oklahoma State. They're always a team that's, just on the cusp of just maybe a player away or a play away from doing something. But I mean, looking at this, I wouldn't be surprised if UCF won the damn thing.
Honestly, I was going to say probably Kansas State because you look at their schedule. They only, out of the current rankings, which I know is Dan's favorite thing, out of the current rankings, they only played two teams that are in the top 25, and that's TCU and Texas. And they're both not going to be there by the time they play them. So,
right, but they'll mess around and lose to Cincinnati.
Yeah, because that's something that they would do. But that's just sad that we're sitting here saying like UCF or Kansas State possibly winning that conference.
Right.
They're not the powerhouse teams that everybody's used to.
No, and then BYU is. I mean, I don't know what's going on with them. These kids they don't want to go to BYU because BYU, you sign up for their scholarships, you can't fornicate. You can't tell them college kids they can't go fornicate.
I'm just going to throw in a parting shot.
I'm joking.
I'm just going to throw in the parting shot right now. You might as well just count West Virginia out after Saturday anyway, so they just write them off the books.
I didn't really write them in the books, but we'll go for it. I mean, because Pat McAfee went there and he's going to be at the game. He's feeling good. It's still not going to be enough.
No. He's going to get a weird awakening, isn't he?
Yeah. Stay away from the dirty water. Stay away from the dirty water.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Big Ten. This is our conference. We're up next. Another solid year for the Big Ten. I think this is a well-balanced year for the Big Ten. You got your guys up top, Michigan, OSU, Penn State. Those guys are up there, but I think some of these halfway schools are going to be a little better this year. Wisconsin, I expect them to be better. Iowa, I expect them to be better. Illinois has been solid. I mean, you can't give that coach all that money in Michigan State and you guys not get better. Minnesota is definitely a team that you don't just beat. So,
Maryland is going to be really good this year.
Yeah, so, I mean, I know we're not going to get the same competition that you normally get out of Northwestern because of what's going to be going on there. But I do feel that the Big Ten, I mean, we have to look at the SEC and look at the schedules and go from there. But I really think that the Big Ten, it might be the strongest conference this year in college football. What is Ben talking about now? Go Irish, boo. I'm a fan of whoever beats Michigan because you're tired of us beating your ass. But go ahead.
So, I'll tell you, I think that there's going to be two representatives from the Big Ten in the playoffs. And this is going to make you happy, and I know some people are going to be like, oh, you're just saying that because of who you guys root for. But I honestly think that Michigan and Penn State are the two representatives from the Big Ten that make the playoffs. I think Ohio State's going to take a step back just because, they announced McCord's going to be their starting quarterback, but I don't think they're sold on McCord as their starting quarterback, and they're going to be flipping back and forth between the two. I think Michigan and Penn State are the two most balanced teams both are returning a lot of key players. The only thing Ohio State really has coming back for them is their wide receiving core.
The number one pick in the draft.
Right. And I'm not saying anything about, I like Marvin Harrison Jr., but you got to have more than just Marvin Harrison Jr. to win in the Big Ten. I think Michigan and Penn State are built to be competitive. The Big Ten championship is going to come down to who wins that game in November up at Happy Valley. In all honesty, the Big Ten champion is the winner of that game.
Who plays first? Who plays OSU first? You or us? We do. We do. So your game is probably the most important game.
Yep, 100%.
You know what I mean? Your game is extremely important because we beat them in the shoe last year. So now they have to come to the big house. You know what I mean? So that's the top. What is going on out there? Lord. So they got to come to the big house. So, Michigan's really good. Both of them got first place votes. Both OSU and Michigan. I think Michigan got 2. OSU got 1. Georgia got like 60. So, it was like they got all the votes, 80 or whatever it was. But, obviously the Michigan-Ohio State game is obviously big every year, and it determines a lot. But I think the negative about this that we lose next year is all 3 of those schools are on the same side.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you can't have a Penn State, Michigan Big Ten championship, or Ohio State, Penn State, or Ohio State, Michigan, or whatever Big Ten championship with your best teams because of the sides. You know what I mean? The last few years, one of those 2 schools have just obliterated the other side. You know what I mean? So we need to, and then once USC and UCLA come in, not to say that UCLA is going to make any difference in it, USC is going to make a complete difference when it comes in, but then you can have, without having divisions inside the conference, then you can get those matchups. Then you can get a Ohio State, Michigan 2 for the Big Ten title. You know what I'm saying? That can happen.
Well, next year, I think they said they're not doing divisions anyway, so that's going to be good
Right.
for us.
Right.
To answer Big Ben's question, I'm a Penn State fan. So he put in the chat, he said, source who you like. I like Penn State. But when you and I both know this is going to be old school Big Ten football, who's going to be good in the trenches, who can run the ball. Passing games are going to be there for the 3 teams in the East, but the 2 best teams that running the ball this year are Michigan and Penn State. They showed it last year. Penn State just little inconsistency at quarterback play last year, and the passing game was a little iffy. I think this year both teams are going to go in. It's Michigan at Penn State. It's not going to make a difference. Whoever wins that game is representing the Big Ten and the Big Ten champ as the Big Ten champ into the playoffs. And whoever loses that game is the other team that's going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I pretty much almost agree with you. You know what I mean? I think your game with Ohio State is like a really big game, especially for your program.
Yeah.
Especially for y'all trying to continue to be mentioned with the Ohio States and the Michigans in the conference. But man, it's been a long time since I've said this. And this Michigan team is loaded.
I do not disagree.
It is loaded, and the one thing I like about it, Harbaugh is letting off the reins of his quarterback. He has allowed him to play that San Francisco style offense that he brought to Michigan. He's got all the pieces that he had in San Francisco that he couldn't beat his brother, but he's got those pieces now. And I hate to say it. I am a Michigan fan over and over ridiculously, but I really believe if Blake Corum does not get hurt last year, Michigan damn near wins the national championship. with that running game and that defense, man, that's an SEC defense, bro. I mean, I hate to say it, it's an SEC defense. You know what I mean? Ohio State running around here putting up 50, 60 points a game. 12.
I think it's an exciting year as Big Ten fans in general. I know neither one of us want to talk about that team from Ohio, but the fact that we can sit here and say about, Maryland's going to be better, Iowa's going to be better, our top three in the East are the three best teams again, but Wisconsin and all them are kind of back in the picture.
Yeah, that Luke Fickle at Wisconsin was huge.
Yeah, the whole thing of the SEC being the best conference in college football is gone. Big Ten, it's Big Ten this year. I don't care what anybody says. It's Big Ten football this year. And if you are not a Big Ten fan, start watching their games because it's going to be the most exciting football you're going to watch all year.
Well, you're going to see them coast to coast, baby, from Cali. They're going to be on all day. Big Ten football is going to be on all day.
Absolutely. From noon to midnight, we're going to have Big Ten football
all day.
Every week.
So you better get ready because it's coming. All right, let's go talk about the second place conference.
We have
you got the SEC. SEC is pretty much what you think it is. It's Georgia, Alabama, LSU, and Tennessee on the outside looking in, maybe Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
I mean, Florida maybe, but they don't have Richardson there to save them, so LSU maybe, but they always seem to blow it in big games lately. Auburn's nobody. So I don't even know what can you really say about the SEC this year. There's just,
I mean, you could say that we're anxious to see the press conference wars between Saban and your boy at Texas A&M.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, dude, they are entertaining. I will say that. I've seen some of them. They are entertaining as shit.
He's got Big Ben's got Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. I like Tennessee, but you can't slip on this LSU team. Hey man, Brian Kelly, a lot of people up north here don't pretty much care for him, and I know a lot of people down there with that southern drawl don't particularly care for him either. But hey man, that LSU team is really good, and that quarterback is really good.
I'm not saying they aren't, but I think they lose to Florida State to start the year. They're going to probably lose. They're probably going to lose to Alabama.
Maybe. Alabama have a quarterback, and they beat them last year.
LSU doesn't have a running back against Florida State, so that's going to kill them.
Maybe.
They always get upset by somebody. Like, what was that?
Yeah.
But
it's going to be South Carolina or Missouri.
I will laugh my ass off either way. I don't know. It's just top heavy with Alabama and Georgia again. It's the same thing every year for them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I didn't say nothing.
Oh, okay. He didn't say nothing, y'all. He said, hush it. Hush it. Gators are going to be good again as well. Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, Big Ben, without looking it up, tell me 5 Florida Gators that are relevant this year, then we can have that discussion.
He's really going to look up the roster. All right. There's the bowl games. Here's the New Year's Six or whatever it is, the bowl games, semi-pros or whatever you want to call it. Who do you have, just off the top of your head right now, who do you have for your Final Four and your national championship winner?
I have Michigan, Penn State, Georgia, and I went back and forth on this, but I really think Alabama, it's going to be Georgia, Alabama, Penn State, Michigan type of Final Four. I think the championship is going to be the matchup everybody wanted to see, Michigan versus Georgia. I think that's it's going to be hard to argue against 2 SEC teams and 2 Big Ten teams being in it this year.
I agree. I'm going Alabama. I'm going LSU. I'm going Michigan, and I'm going Penn State.
See, it's funny that you said about LSU because even though I was talking smack on them, they were the other team other than Alabama I couldn't decide on. I mean, I know we don't know how good Alabama's going to be with a new quarterback, but LSU we don't know how good they're going to be because they're going to start the year out without a running back. That's anything worthwhile. So,
yeah, but that's the opportunity for somebody to emerge that you don't know about on both sides of the quarterback and the running back. But I feel if you have an established quarterback, you have an upper hand. He's had a year in the Brian Kelly system. He was dynamic at times, a little erratic at times. I think a year of growth will help out on that. I just like the overall consistency of that. And Alabama, the last couple of years have been Alabama. You've had problems on the defensive side. You haven't other than Bryce Young. You haven't really a whole lot of greatness. You had a lot of very good players, but not a lot of greatness that we're used to seeing. So the question is, has everybody caught up with Alabama?
I mean, why not? Obviously, Georgia's obviously taken the front seat of that conference over the last few years, but until somebody can knock them down, it's the same thing with Alabama. Until somebody can knock them down out of being the best team in college football, they're still the best team. I think Alabama is back to that point of we can have this conversation that they can be the best team in college football again because it's still Nick Saban. Nick Saban is going to find a way to make things work. I get it. Last year, Bryce Young was their entire offense, and their whole offensive scheme ran around him. But I think we're back to Nick Saban being Nick Saban. He's been recruiting really well over the last few years. I think they have a team. They didn't get number 4 for just because they're Alabama and the SEC. That's part of it. But I think they are legitimately good contenders. And I think it seriously is them and Georgia. I have LSU as my first team out for any indication. I think that's how close it is. I have LSU as the first team out of the Final Four. It's just, man, it's.
We addressed this a while ago, Ben, if you pay attention, and buying a kid a cheeseburger, that's crooked. Calling a kid an hour after the deadline, that's crooked. All right. At least we don't, I'm not even going to get into that. They just mad because Harbaugh won't bend. He does the same thing that every other coach in college football does. Is that Harbaugh won't kiss the NCAA's ass. As you can see with this bogus suspension that they tried to give and the one they say, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? What the hell? You know what I mean? So eat it, Benjamin.
Hey, Ben, you missed it earlier. I have the best shirt that I'm going to wear since, you're big on hating on Michigan and for whatever reason you have this obsession of talking about Ohio State. I just want you to take note that Ohio State fans are such crybabies.
Just we won 18 games in a row. Yeah, and before that we won 10 in a row. So eat it.
Hey, don't worry, they don't have Urban Meyer to fake a heart attack to leave so they can get a better coach in this time either.
Ryan Day, which is I call Commander Riker.
Yes. Oh man,
that's my one good one. Hey man, let's get into these picks, man, because we have ran over. So let's get into these picks real quick. I can talk about this with him all day, but let's see. First up, our game. So we're back to doing our picks. This week is all college because the NFL doesn't start till next Thursday night, September 7th, with the Lions at the defending champs, the Chiefs. That is all college. So first game up, we got Florida, who Ben seems to think is going to be good, versus number 14, Utah, who we both think will be a team that you cannot sleep on coming out the West. Line for them is 6.5 for Utah, and the over-under is 45. All that comes into play when we have Rafael Sanchez back on. You bet that.
Yeah. Well, I think Utah covers the 6.5, and if it's 45, at least 30 of them are coming from Utah. So just put it that way.
This is what we think. This is how we think that this game is going to go, Benjamin.
Nobody is dumb enough to take Florida net, and somehow we're all going to eat our words, and Florida's going to like smoke them. Because that's how it works. You know what? That's been our trend, though. Every time all of us pick the same team, the other team wins. So,
well, somebody should. I guess we better put our money on the other guy. All right, so here we go. We got Colorado and 17 TCU. This starts off the college football season right away, buddy. They're going right at it, putting Dion right in the fire. And I'm sorry, Dion, you're going to lose.
Yeah. The fact that they gave him 20 and a half. They gave him 20 and a half. It's just is a sign. Like,
hey, that ain't no fluke.
No, not at all.
All right. And this is how the network went. Well, we got two people that think that Colorado has a chance. They must have been Falcons fans.
No, I mean, Tim's an Eagles fan, so he's optimistic.
First shot fired.
I like how you gave him 2 M's, though, because it's going to be, poor Dion is how the game's going to go.
Ooh, damn. All right, next up is Carolina, the Battle of the Carolinas. You got South and North, 21 North, and not ranked South, line 2.5, and the over and under is 64.5 as of yesterday. I didn't check today, so it could be off a number or a point, but generally they're about the same. This actually might be a better game than you would think, but I still think UNC pulls it out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. I think I picked South Carolina for this. I don't remember.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, I did pick UNC. Okay. I couldn't remember who I picked for this one just because I know what game's coming up. So, but no, I think this is going to be a good opening matchup to get college football started. This could be a huge top 25 implication as the year goes on. These could be upsets that you don't want to play against late in the year. With them playing against each other now, I wouldn't want to play them later in the year. That's all I'm going to say.
North Carolina, yeah. I don't know about South Carolina because they don't have the old ball coach or Jadeveon Clowney. So, pretty off in South Carolina. Now, we were talking about South Carolina women's basketball. That's different. Did we get winner? Yeah, we did. That was what we were on. Yeah, okay. Next game up is the game of the week for the source. You got the Mountaineers going into Happy Valley with the third largest stadium in the country.
Yeah. I'll just say, put your money on that line there at the bottom because I don't think this is not to be bought. I don't think West Virginia can hang with Penn State. I really don't. They're going to be coming into probably their biggest atmosphere other than the backyard brawl. Nighttime, the one knows, like, even as a Michigan fan, like, nighttime in a big Big Ten stadium is tough. Give me Penn State all day. I would, even if I was a Penn State fan, give me Penn State to cover all of that at the bottom because this offense is going to be explosive, and West Virginia is not going to be able to hang. So.
No, I don't think this game is going to be close at all. I think they cover. I think they take the over. I need to take the first flight to the moon because that's what's going to happen in this particular game. And again, West Virginia is going to win this game.
Yeah, if they do, it's nice knowing you guys. I won't be back anytime soon because I will be too embarrassed and I will probably be crying my eyes out.
No, we will find you.
No, you will not. I will go hidden for a very long time.
We'll send Tim to your house.
Tim and John both know where I live, so it doesn't really matter. Oh man,
And then our last game of the yes it is. Our last game of the evening of the week is our top 10 matchup. This is actually the game of the week. This is actually the premier game, the first top 10 matchup of the year. You got the 5th ranked LSU Tigers going against the 8th ranked, highly talked about Florida State Seminoles. Line LSU 2.5 over and under 56. Hey man, we're just gonna let the people. We're just gonna tell them what it is.
Split.
There it is.
Pretty much split.
There it is. You got DeLion, Tommy Boy, Steven, and Greg all going for the Seminoles, and the one, Tim, and the source of the smart ones going for the Bengal Tigers.
I know I said about Florida State winning this game, but I also said I have LSU out as my first team out of the top 4. The reason why is because they're going to open up with a win against Florida State. Florida State is going to keep this competitive, though. It's 2.5 for a reason. It's going to be high scoring, but it's LSU is they're going to surprise people. But again, they're my first team out of the top 4 for a reason. And it's not because of this game. This game is going to show how good they actually are.
Well, Florida State is very lucky that this game is not night in LSU. There'll be no contest. But I agree with you. This game is going to be exciting. It's probably hands down going to be the best game of the weekend, other than your Penn State blowout. But this probably should be the best game of the weekend. I mean, this has got national title implications wrapped all around it. This could set the tone for how this season is going to go. I'm excited about it. It puts upper hand for LSU in the SEC going into these environments with, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and it gives the upper hand to Florida State going into North Carolina, Clemson, Miami. So this is a big one. It's a big one, and it's going to be exciting. And I'm going to be watching it with a Oktoberfest Samuel Adams in my head.
While you enjoy that close battle, I'll be sitting live at Beaver Stadium watching the blowout happen.
Well, I hope you get you a nice hot dog.
Hey, you know what? So last year they experimented with selling beer in the stadium, so I'll be doing some 12-ounce curls.
Well, good for you, my good man. All right, so there you have it. That is our preview show for college. We've given you our ideas of what we think how this season is going to go. We would have loved to hear Dan. Hope everything is taken care of over there your way. So, but for the source, for the one, for football, BW Sports 1, Dukes of Football, we are out of this piece. You can hit him up on everything on the page. You can find him. You can find me. You can find us all on the website, the YouTube page, the Facebook page, the Twitter page. We're universal, baby. Yeah.
Worldwide, thanks to this guy over here.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yes.
Worldwide.
We did leave the country. About BW Sports Apparel. All right, so there you have it. Have a great week of football. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Hit them pools when you can. Fire up them grills for the last time. Let's make it happen. For the source, the one, BW Sports 1. We are out of here. That's the fan in my finger. Ow.
We are.
No. I'm hitting the button.